All right, welcome to the Fold Mysteries, where we seek to discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. So, I hope everybody can hear me okay. I know you can't see me, but I'm currently at the grocery store. My poor little dog is sick, so I'm buying him some chicken. I'm going to boil it tonight and just give him a bland chicken meal for dinner. So, that is why you cannot see me, and it's probably noisy in the background. I can't hear you, Abe.
So there we
There
go.
you go.
I just go on talking away sometimes, and yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, and the kids
Perfect.
are there as well. So sorry to hear about your little dog. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it was so funny because I had to take my one dog to the vet. It's not funny. It's actually awful. I had to take my one dog to the vet, and then I get back and I find this mess that my other little dog had made. He's very sick to his stomach. He's not feeling well, so gonna get him some chicken. Gonna go home and boil it while the podcast is happening, and so I'm gonna be in and out. So I do apologize to everybody that it's gonna be a little bit unique. But Abe has been so gracious, and you have offered to kind of run the show tonight and kind of let me pop in here and there as I can.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I got a little bit of experience kind of doing these things, just a
Yeah,
little bit, not a
a,
whole lot.
a little lot of it.
A little lot of it, yeah. There you go. And so, yeah, it's anything new with you besides the animals not doing so well.
Not really. I had planned a night excursion and it kind of fell through, so I was kind of bummed about that because I haven't been able to go out at in the dead of night for a while because I live out in the boonies. It's hard to find anybody that'll go out with me. I do day walk and hike during the day to investigate, but it's a little bit different if you're a solo female at night in the woods by yourself. Mostly,
Right.
I'm afraid of other people.
Right. Oh my gosh. If we were closer, I'd definitely go out with you. That'd be so
Yeah,
much
that would
fun.
be awesome. Oh my God,
Heck
that would be
yeah.
awesome.
Right. All right. On my end, just getting things ready for the conference and made the down payment. So, and got the venue all booked. And, just again, an update is that unfortunately one of our speakers did have to drop off, and that was Michael Freeman, son of Paul Freeman, author of the Bigfoot Freeman Files. He had some issues going on. So, all the best to him. But however, we have things moving right along. And funny thing, I was just talking with Renee last night, and she was asking about who all the other speakers are, and I brought up your name. She goes, "Oh, why is that ringing a bell? Is she from Ohio, Pennsylvania area?" I was like, "Yeah, she's from Ohio." She goes, "It seems to ring a bell." So, yeah, I guess
Very
she's heard
cool.
it. I guess she's heard of you. You're big news. I mean, standing there in tall cotton.
No,
And
we actually have met before, so that's probably why it rung a bell.
right, right, yep, yep.
Yeah, I
That's
think we've
awesome.
met a couple times, very briefly spoke. So,
Very, very cool. She totally remembers you and who you are. And then I also said, I'm a team member Joel Sturgis and stuff. And so she's excited. And so after the conference, because it's probably going to end early, seeing that we are down to three instead of four speakers, we're all going to be going over. I got goosebumps going over to the Reamer Motel campground and having and everybody who has their wristbands are invited to come out there. Basically, their proof of purchase to be there. So basically, everybody who's in the audience, if they want to come and hang out with you stars and speakers and everything, that's all been on TV and whatnot, you're going to be having a lot of people chatting up a storm with you. So I hope you guys are ready for that. But other than
oh
that,
my gosh, that's my favorite part. I love that part. I love getting
right.
to meet other people and just talk.
Yeah, yeah, right. I'm right there with you. And it seems just like at the conference, I don't know how it was with yours, but in my conference the previous years, I hardly have time to do that because I'm all over the place. I'm putting like on 5 to 6,000 miles. I'm sorry, burning about 5 to 6,000 calories, putting on a lot of miles during that time. So it's just busy time where people want to grab you and just say, hey, this, that. And I hate cutting it short, but there's so many things I gotta go take care of too.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Yep, I
So,
totally get that sentiment.
so with that being said, this gives a lot, everybody in attendance, or those who want to partake, to come out and have a little more, personal time, intimate time with all of us, and just share a bonfire, maybe share some Bigfoot stories and stuff like that. A lot more pictures and autographs, and it's just going to be a great time. I'm going to get a hold of the guy and talk to him about food coming up soon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that. And however, this just in, Renee is kicking around the idea of taking a group of people out with her somewhere around the home of Bigfoot, Reamer, Minnesota. So that's
Oh,
yeah. So that's on in the works as well, and that's going to be kind of a separate thing where it would be they would have to a certain amount of proceeds. I don't know what she's talking about charging or anything like that, but she's going to talk about having that option for the people at the bonfire as well. She might even announce. We're just trying to kick around how are we going to try to market this and put that out there too. So stoked about that. Everything is going great. Just been kind of wait hear back from a couple or a speaker on what airport they'll be flying out at, and they can get back to me.
yeah, that's first time I've even thought about it. So I guess that person should probably get on that pretty soon.
Well, they just go up the closer it gets to the time, basically.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! So that's what's cracked a lacking on my end. But you know what? We got a pretty amazing guest waiting back in the green room, having some champagne and enjoying every signing the wall that we got back there. Hanging out with us tonight. You want me to bring her on?
Yes, please, and please
Before,
do us the honor of introducing her.
absolutely. And so, oh my gosh, I got goosebumps because I've known this amazing woman for many, many years. Oh, dang, for well over a decade, honestly. And we have a great bond together. We've gone to the 50th anniversary of the Patterson Gimlin film site together. Well, we were there enjoying that. I should say we didn't fly together, but we there was a group of us that we called the Fantastic Five, and it was her, myself, Henry May, Kevin, and Esther Schritter, the legendary Esther Schritter. Um, Story about okay, well, there's just so much I could talk about, but she was present in the car when we were in San Francisco. We're going over the Golden Gate Bridge for the first time. And I've got my
Oh,
camcorder in one hand, cell phone in the other, recording while we're going over the Golden Gate Bridge, driving with my knees, mind you, and they're having construction. Yeah, like they're having construction going on this bridge, and we're all just looking at Alcatraz, and we're sightseeing, and my knees are just doing the driving. We've talked about this knee driving thing between you and I.
yeah.
But with that being said, I'm talking about the one and only Crystal Panek, and Crystal has she's upstate New York. Excuse me. After having her encounter with a Bigfoot in upstate New York as a child, Krista has always had a fascination with all things unexplained, whether in cryptids, paranormal, or extraterrestrial. She loves it all. The encounter stirred a passion, and she is seeking answers. She has been searching for cryptids, paranormal slash paranormal, pretty much her entire life. After school, she joined the USAF, United States Air Force, where she quickly ascended to the rank of staff sergeant and then worked in the civilian sector, performing a variety of positions and raising a family. She is currently a field researcher for the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO, for the state of New Hampshire, a paranormal investigator, and a member of Project Zoobook. When she's not investigating, she is contracting and authoring, writing computer books, Civics, Wiley Publishing. She is also a certified Microsoft engineer. She always goes into every investigation with the intent to obtain evidence, whether it's searching for Bigfoot, I totally lost one. Or getting answers to the spiritual world. She doesn't just jump to conclusions, which I love. She says that not everything in the woods is Bigfoot. I say that too. And not every bump in the night is a ghost. She needs evidence, and she is pursuing those answers. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Crystal Panek to the whole Mr. Reeves. Yeah. Woo, woo. Crystal, how are you, sweetie?
Hi.
I'd like to introduce you to Gwendolyn.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice
I'll
meeting
get to,
you.
you'll get to see me shortly, I'm sure.
Good luck with everything with your dogs.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome to the show. We're really excited to get to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's our
So,
pleasure, for sure.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, Crystal, it's so good to see you. Last time I seen you, you were here in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you doing? I know what you were doing, but can you kind of fill us in what you were doing here in Minnesota?
Actually, I was going under hypnosis, doing a hypnosis session for the Legend Meet Science 2
Yes.
with Doug Hychek. So
Yep.
it was an interesting experience, and I don't know what's going to come out from it, or we'll see what happens. But it was the longest 6+ hours of hypnosis session that I've ever been through. It was just a cry session. It was pretty rough.
Wow.
It was tough to bring back all those memories.
Holy smokes, I bet it was. And for those who don't know, Doug Hychek is working on Legend Meet Science Part 2, the documentary, and there's even talks that I caught wind of that it might be episodes, not just a documentary, but also episodes too.
I think that would be better, because just the duration of everybody's, you can't squeeze that into 2 hours.
Into 2 hours, right? Yeah, whoa.
There's so much.
And so I met you there, and Sibylla was also there too, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to hang out and stuff like that for a little while, which was great catching up with you. Prior to that, I haven't seen you since the 50th anniversary of the PG film.
Right.
Yeah. So, and
that
that's
was an
been
adventure in
yeah.
itself.
Okay. So Esther Schroeder, she was riding with us at one point, and she couldn't handle my driving. Well, we were on these switchback mountains, and you did good. I'm surprised you had fingernails left by the time we were parked and everything like that, and got to the PG site.
Well, I couldn't keep up with you for a while. You were gone.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! Yeah, but Diane Neese, our stocking at that time, she was also on the seat. She was sitting shotgun actually when we were driving out there. And on these switchbacks, they were high enough in elevation where there were still some slush and stuff like that. And the SUV that was rented did a little fishtail. And it was one of those moments where everybody just kind of held their breath and was like, oh. I said, don't worry, I'm from Minnesota. I know how to drive on ice.
That whole trip was an adventure.
It really, really was.
And you almost running out of gas.
I know. And then on the res, you found a gas station.
Thank goodness.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, talk about burying the needle. Mm-hmm. You've been in this field for a long time. Mm-hmm. And we just talked about it a little bit. You were in Minnesota to record for Legend Meet Science 2, undergoing hypnosis. And this hypnosis all had to stem back from your early childhood. Mm-hmm. You want to kind of run us through that whole synopsis of what took place way back in your early childhood that Doug wanted to bring out more detail for Legend Meet Science 2 about what occurred.
I can share my encounter. I get very nervous still when I talk about it. And honestly, after the hypnosis session, I think it brings back a lot more of the sensation, the feelings of it. So I'm going to do my best to get through this. So it actually took place in October of 1978. I'm a twin, and we had gotten home, and it was my sister and I and my mom, and she went to go into the house, and she realized that as she walked in that the back door was busted, and she rushed us back out to the car and had the sheriff come out. They went inside, determined that nothing had been stolen, and we went to bed that night. This is a 1970s trailer. You know, you walk in, you have the living room, then you have a kitchen to your right, big bay window, and then a little corridor with a bedroom, a bathroom, and then another bedroom at the end. And we went to bed that night. Our bedroom was directly across from the door that had been busted. I don't remember how my mom closed it, but I was on the top bunk. My sister was on the bottom bunk. And sometime during the night, I heard my sister going, "Crystal, Crystal." And I sat up, and there was this large, hairy thing in the doorway, backlit by the hall light. And I was so terrified to climb in front of the bed to get down to her bunk that I squeezed myself between the wall and the bunk bed and got down to her bunk. And we just sat there huddled. And it just started walking in the room. And I say it's weird because as soon as it kind of walked into the room and was coming in, both my twin and I, everything went black. I don't remember anything the rest of that night. Woke up the next morning, or came to, or however, we were still in that bottom bunk together. Got up and walked down the hallway, and we have this big bay, the big bay window in the living room. And I remember looking out that window, and this creature was crouching down behind a vehicle that was in the backyard. And it just made eye contact with us, stood up, turned around, and then walked into the woods. So that was my encounter. Can't hear you.
Wow. I mean, that is super interesting. So it was actually inside of your house.
Yeah, if you had a the trailers, the corridors. The way I think about it, what is it, 4 feet in a trailer for a hallway, and our door was kitty corner to that back door that had been busted, so we could sit in our room and kind of look out that door. It was right there to our door, and it was standing inside the inside door. But when I look back at it now, because I could see the shoulders and the head, not the full head, like part of the head, and it was backlit by this light. And so when I look back now, it had to have been a juvenile smaller, because how big is a doorway in a trailer from the 70s? 7 feet, 6.5 feet, 7 feet. I can't see them being very, very big. So, and it was just standing in that doorway. And then it started coming in, and then that's all. We can't remember anything from that point on, other, than being huddled. And during the hypnosis sessions, which turned out to be a 6+ hour, me just crying, I actually had a panic attack mid-session. So that was that was quite interesting. And the only thing that I could really make out of that was eyes and hearing it's okay over and over again. So it was a very intense session. So
And
I've always wanted to do the hypnosis session, and the plan was also for my twin to go through the hypnosis session as well, and then compare our side by side. And that's something that I've wanted to do pretty much my entire life, like do this whole session. And when Doug offered it to us, I jumped on it because I'm like, yes, I want to remember, because I can't remember its facial features other than its eyes. Yeah. So I really wanted to try to remember what this thing looked like. But unfortunately, I still only saw those eyes, this big, dark, hairy thing, and hearing it's okay over and over again.
The voice that you heard, where did it come from? Was it your sister? Was it in your sister's voice?
No, it was just a like almost like a woman's voice. It's okay. So it's okay. But that's all the hypnosis kind of brought out for me was that. I don't know what else, because I don't remember all of the sessions. But I just remember I cried a lot.
Yeah.
So
a lot of emotions resurfaced that were probably suppressed due to this, which is good. It's health. It's healing.
Right.
Yeah.
But my sister was not able to do the hypnosis session because she has PTSD. And I asked her, do you think that this might be related to that? And she says, no, it's the military, but I sometimes wonder if maybe some of this stems from what we encountered as kids. So
right, and you just don't know.
Yep. So the hypnotist didn't want to take that chance and cause any issues with her doctor. So they did not do a hypnosis session with her, but she was present for mine. So
yeah, I remember meeting her too. Man. So before she woke you up, did you ever ask her how long it was that she's seen the creature standing in the doorway before she actually started saying crystal?
I think she just sat up. I don't think I've ever actually asked her that specific question. But I know, she said she sat up, saw it, was obviously scared, and called for me. And she, I'm on the top bunk, she's on the bottom bunk, and sitting up and seeing this large hairy thing standing in the doorway. There was no way I was going to go over the front of the bed to get down to her.
Let's go in between the bed and the wall.
So I'm going to
push that bed out.
Squeeze myself between the bed and the wall to get down to her bunk. So, and so it was the next day that it was like it was still there. And it was. I always say, was it like just making sure we were okay, checking on us? I don't know, because it was still in the area. And the funny thing with that is, after we had seen it and it walked into the woods, which is funny because my sister, it was our birthday, actually. We were turning 6 that day. And my sister remembers it being in the afternoon that we saw it. But I remember it first thing in the morning, seeing it when we got up. So there is that that's different. But we told our mom about what happened, and that's when she shared with us about an encounter she had in those same woods when she was a little girl. So I found that interesting. It's the same, and I look at the Google images of that whole area now, and it's still nothing but swamplands and apple orchards and farms in upstate New York. So
interesting.
As a kid, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I do have a couple questions before we get too far away from your experience. So you said you blacked out. Did your sister black out as well?
Yes, we both, from the same point on, everything for us was all black. Neither one of us.
have you developed a theory as to what that could possibly be? Do you think it was like adrenaline, fear takeover? Do you guys think you both just fell back asleep, or do you think that there is maybe something something they did to create that blackout moment for both of you?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That's why I wanted to do the hypnosis, because I was always curious as to what occurred during that time where neither one of us can remember anything, just everything just being black. So,
yeah, that's interesting.
I was kind of hoping that more would come out of that, but during the hypnosis session, I think the fear, all that kept coming over, and I just couldn't, like, the hypnotist would be like, okay, come out of the room or get off the bed or whatever. But I just could not get myself to really get out of that room or out of the bed. Like, it was, I just couldn't move from that position.
Right.
So
yeah, that's intense, and I can see where you might think that experience created some PTSD for your sister. I mean, that's got to be traumatizing, especially as young as you guys were, just 6 years old. I mean, that is a young age to experience what you as a child might think is a true monster,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, as a kid, and you're not knowing about Bigfoot, I mean, that would be a monster to a child who doesn't know about Bigfoot. So I'm kind of curious, did you start your cryptid research before or after you went through the hypnosis?
Before, actually. Really what got me into doing this now, I am a field researcher for the BFRO. I love talking to people about their Bigfoot encounters. And honestly, the show Finding Bigfoot and Facebook kind of opened all of that up for me, because I very rarely told anybody about my encounter. And I told my husband once and he laughed, and I was just remember being so mad, like, this thing is real. And I'm telling you it's real because I saw it. I know I saw this thing. And because of Facebook, I found out, like, I found out about the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And I'm like, wow, they have these conferences and people talk about this stuff. And it was almost like I found a home, like people with like minds, and we can talk about things, and I can share, everything that I went through, and I'm not alone in this. And there are thousands of people who have these encounters and see these things. And now that's why I do what I do, because I need answers. Like, what did I see? And what really got me, sounds crazy, but one of the things that really got me going into this too was my daughter had an encounter here where we live now. And she was a little girl, and we were home. I was working from home, so I was in my office. I was on the phone, and I was like, hey, I got to talk to this guy on the phone. I need you to be quiet. I'll be out in a minute. And a few minutes later, she just comes banging on the door, and she's like in hysterics. And I'm like trying to cover the phone, like, what? Mom's on the phone. So I'm like, so she's going crazy. And I tell the guy, I'm sorry, can I call you back? My daughter's here and something's bothering her. I hang up the phone. And of course, I open the door. I'm going to yell at her, like, Mom's on the phone. What are you doing? And she just clung on to me. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And she was like, a big hairy man just walked by the window. And I said, what do you mean a big hairy man just walked by the window? And she said, and so it's just her and I home alone. I run to the window and to look, and I'm looking outside, and I'm like, I'm going to go open the sliding door so I can see if I can hear anything. And she's hanging off the back of my sweater, like, no, you can't go out. It's a big hairy man. And I said, well, was it a bear? And she's like, it was a big hairy man. And I said, where did he go? And she goes, the woods. Like, so with her encounter, and then she didn't know about mine. And for her to also have this same thing, like, I saw this thing outside. It just walked by the window and walked into the woods. That really got me, like on the internet and checking things out. I mean, my very first search on the internet when the internet first came out, and I remember sitting at my computer, and it was probably, I don't know, mid 90s, and I type in Bigfoot encounters and this forum pops up, and all these people are on this forum talking about Bigfoot, and I'm like, wow, there is people talking about this stuff. But then I typed in my my little report, and then I panicked and said, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that, and closed it and left and never went back to the forum, because I shared this encounter with them. And then, it was when Finding Bigfoot and Facebook came out that I really got into this and said, wow, there's these communities. And it was just wonderful to be able to talk to people about it. So, and then that's when Finding Bigfoot was making their town halls. And we had reached out to them to go to one of their town halls. And that's where I ran into Moneymaker. And we were leaving. The event was over and we were leaving. And I stopped. And it was like February. There was a blizzard going on. And we were way up in the mountains. And I said to my daughter, I have to go talk to Moneymaker, because if I don't, I'm never going to have this opportunity again. Mm-hmm. So I turned around and went back in and said, Matt, can I talk to you? And I said, you don't have any active researchers in the state of New Hampshire. What do I need to do to become an investigator for you? And we sat down for an hour and just chatted. And then he stood up, he shook my hand and said, welcome aboard. So, and that's how I got into working with the BFRO. So I love talking to people about Bigfoot. It just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a great subject. One of my favorite ones too.
Mine as
well. Going back to when you and your sister's incident took place. Wow. Did you guys, I know you just seen a hairy outline basically. Was it like pitch black? Or there had been some kind of a light for you to see some kind of outline to depict?
There was a light on in the hallway right behind it. So it was backlit. So the light was over its shoulders. So you could make out that it was this hairy thing.
So with being backlit, you couldn't make out any hair color or anything like that, because all that's lit up from behind.
No, and unfortunately, I couldn't tell you. I just remember it being big and hairy, dark, and I can't remember facial features.
Right.
Because all I was focused on was, all I could see was eyes.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So
and no smell or anything?
I don't remember one.
Right.
So yeah, I don't recall any smell.
And then the next day, you see it huddled down behind a car and it walks off into the woods. Could you make the sex of the creature that walked off in the woods? Probably don't really remember.
No, I don't recall that. That's why I'm thinking that due to the size, that it was most likely a juvenile. That's the only thing I could think of, because it wasn't gigantic. Like for me as a kid, it's a giant. But when I look back now, it wasn't as big as I thought it was, just because of where it was, at the door. Like its head was at the door.
Yeah, wow, amazing. What about your parents? I mean, where were they at that
time? Honestly, I don't remember where my father was.
Okay.
I don't recall that at all. I don't know if they were already separated at that time or, but I just remember my mom being home and then telling her about what happened, and then her explaining to us about her encounter and that it won't hurt us.
Which is a great segue to what did she experience, your mom?
So my grandparents' house was kind of kitty corner to that, in the same area. So on the same street, and the woods that she had her encounter in were those same woods. She came out of the house, was building a snowman in the front yard, and kept feeling like she was being watched. And my grandfather opened the door to the house, and the dog bolted out of the house and ran across the street. And this creature just stood up out of a ditch and ran into the woods with the dog chasing after it. So that was her encounter, but it was watching her build a snowman in the front yard.
You mentioned looking at the property nowadays, and it's just like swamp and apple orchards. Were there apple orchards around at that time too?
Yes, it hasn't. That whole area up there has not changed. It doesn't look any different than it did in the 70s, besides maybe an occasional building put in here and there. But when you look at on Google Earth, I'll have to see if I can get the coordinates. I can probably even send them to you. And there's still only 3 trailers in that little area. And ours was the closest to the woods, and you see nothing but trees and swamps and farms behind it.
You said that your grandparents were kind of kitty corner from you guys. Did they ever have anything that they talked about that along those lines?
They never talked about it. I did talk to my aunt recently. She actually still lives in that area.
Oh, wow.
And she lives at my different grandparents that lived further up the road. So she lives at that house, and she remembers when all of this happened to us, and they were all told, don't mention it, don't talk about it. It was kind of like this whole taboo thing, couldn't talk about it. But come to find out later that they've had their own encounters out there while hunting and things like that, seeing things out in the woods. So
that's so freaking awesome.
So, honestly, I don't know. As a kid, whenever we would go back and visit, I was so terrified that we would be staying at my grandparents' house, and they would all be in the camper or the tents or whatever staying. And I just couldn't do it. I had to sleep on the couch in the living room. And so that, for many years I was terrified, but as I got older, now I want those answers as to, what we truly experienced out there.
No doubt. I mean, that's what everybody wants is answers. We all have freaking mountains full of questions, but to get some of the answers, I mean, that's what we all want. So I hope you do get some of the answers to your questions. You ever think about going out there? You said your aunt lives up there still. Maybe visiting her and just kind of going to the property. I got goosebumps for
you. I've thought about it a lot recently.
Yeah.
Like I really do need to get out there. I would love to get out there and just explore. So just
I'd like to get out there. Heck, that'd be fun.
So,
watching upstate New York. Maybe get a hold of Steve. Hey, Steve.
I'm curious how many. Yeah, I actually went to one here with Steve. He came out. Yeah, he came out, and we were investigating a sighting, and so Steve and I went out in the woods, and Alex Petikoff went with us. So
okay,
he brought out his drones and stuff. Unfortunately, we debunked that, the claim. So it was kind of a bummer, but it was fun to get out in the woods with them.
Yeah, I would love to get out in the field with Steve. I mean, I've known the guy probably just as long as I've known you, and met him at the OBC that time as well. Kept in contact with him. What a great! And we just had him on the Fold Mysteries just a few weeks back, so that was a really fun show to do too. And then your daughter, the one that got up and walked the next day after you and your sister had that thing in your room. The next morning, when it walked away, was it light enough where you guys could depict color or any features or anything like that?
I think back on that time, like I wish I had paid more attention, but I think I was just so scared of seeing this thing again. I don't remember what exactly we did. I just remember it making eye contact with us, standing up and turning around and walking into the woods. I just remember it being like brown. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I just remember big and hairy. That's the only way I could describe it as a kid. It was just big and hairy. Right.
And, when you're focusing in and you're zooming in and you get the tunnel vision, you're making eye contact. Everything around is just like, screw it, just forget about it. So I totally know where you're coming from. Just seeing it go off, that brown hairy person going off in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then on the property you're at, your daughter, how old was she when she seen that your husband? No, sorry, Will.
Yeah, she was. She was actually same age. She was actually 5 at the time when she had her encounter, where she saw it walk by the window. So, and hers was a daytime sighting, not night. Because I was working, I was on the phone with a customer, and she was watching TV, and the sun was coming through the window, so she wanted to close the curtains. And as she was closing the curtains, it just walked right by the window. And this one, though, when I go out to look, because all she could see was shoulder and arm and torso as it walked by the window.
Okay.
So she didn't see its head. She didn't
Right.
see
The side profile.
She just saw the side profile of the arm moving as it walked past the house and walked into the woods.
Mm.
So,
I mean, so of course it was a giant to her. You said it was, how high are you guys up? I mean, did it cover, was it as tall as the window itself?
so it had to have been taller than the window. If I go out there, I'm 5'3", and I can just look into the window like this.
Wow.
So this one was really big, and I'm not saying it was 10 feet, but I mean it was big. It had to have been big if she just saw shoulder and chest as it walked by. So then
and somewhat relatively close, because if it was more of a distance, she would have had more.
She would have seen more of it. It walked right by the window.
Yeah.
So, and I wish I had known. I wish I had known then. Well, where we live in a log cabin, and there's a stream that runs through the back of the house, and that's why we kind of wanted this house, because it's out in the middle of nowhere. We have 5 acres of land, woods. At the time we had like no neighbors, so it was ideal for, I just like seclusion.
You guys
I'm not a people person.
You guys went all Grizzly Adams, didn't you?
So and with her having the encounter, and it was just something that we never talked about. So it wasn't like she knew of my encounter. And it was kind of like the same thing with my mom telling us, about her encounter when she was a kid. So it just thought it's interesting that all 3 generations, if not more, with my grandparents, have had some form of encounter.
Right, no doubt. To this day, I mean, you've been a researcher. Do you go out and try to solicit responses or anything on the property?
I wish when she had her encounter that I had known to go out and look for sign, because I didn't know what to do during an encounter or anything like that. So I wish I knew then what I know now on how to look for evidence. Honestly, I had trail cameras set up outside for the longest time. I don't have them out there right now. Some of the trees, we had a big storm come through and took out a lot of the trees. But, I tried getting her to go camping out there. I'm like, let's set up a tent and just go camping sometime. I miss camping. I just don't get out in the woods as much as I used to. Unfortunately, I've been undergoing some medical issues, so I haven't been able to get out in the woods like I want to. So I do miss that right now until things get back to normal. So, but even just trying to get her to go stay in a tent outside wasn't happening. So.
Okay. Yeah. Knowing what you know now, hindsight, right? 2020 is what they say. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
No, we're good. We got a question here. Did you see that there, Crystal?
Oh,
Crystal.
I see. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Where are you from? Where are you from?
Well, I was born in upstate New York, and I'm currently living in New Hampshire. So I'm
Okay.
a field researcher for the state of New Hampshire.
That's from Lori Rose. Thank you, Lori Rose, for the question. And hop back over here. Um, you know, how many?
And to the person who said dumb story, it's not a story. This is my encounter. So take it or leave it for what it is. This is
I
what
didn't even
happened
see
to
that.
me. This is what happened to me. So that's all I can share is my encounter. Take it or
I'm
leave
sorry.
it.
That's yeah, right. How rude. I didn't even see because I'm kind of monitoring the chat room here on my cell phone. I didn't even see that pop up. I apologize for that.
I'm used
Pe-
to it.
people. Crystal. I mean, being in New Hampshire, it's not really known for having Bigfoot encounters. I mean, how many, according to the BFRO website, do you know of that have had sightings in the state
Well,
of New Hampshire?
if you look at the BFRO website, we currently only have like 16 public cases. But if you, my database actually has well over 300 plus encounters. People
Okay.
here are very taboo. You know, it's taboo to talk about it. You don't talk about it. It's getting a little bit less taboo to talk about it here. People here are very, very private, and they don't want their locations or sightings posted publicly because they don't want people just showing up to their locations or their property or their house. You know, they just don't want anybody around. So I would say 90 plus people here in the state of New Hampshire of all the reports that I've taken do not want their information shared publicly.
Right.
So I have hundreds of reports here in New Hampshire, but unfortunately only 16 have made it onto the public database.
You know, I find that here in Minnesota too. The county with the most encounters is St. Louis County, Minnesota, around 74 to 75 encounters. And that's just on the BFRO website, you know. And in working with Reamer, Minnesota, and putting on the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference and doing this, you know, for the past 26 years, I know there's a lot more, and there still is a lot more people that's out in the woodwork that are in fear of coming out and sharing with, because, you know, there's religious purposes, there's people saying that you're nuts, you're you know, you're a druggie or you're an alcoholic or what do you want or something like that. And the thing is that I've also talked with a lot of people who were in that boat doing the name calling, rolling the eyes at the people who have had sightings that have had sightings. And I was just like, ha, take that, you know. Little vindication kind of going on there.
Well, it's frustrating too at times because a lot of the reports I don't get them until they're years old.
Right.
Like
Okay.
People will be thinking about it and go, you know what? I think I'm going to file a report with the BFRO. But then by then it's 5-6 years later, and now I have nothing to go by. The tracks are gone. Any hair evidence that was there is gone. So I'm looking for that really good Class A encounter. I actually ran into somebody a while ago at Walmart, and they were like, oh yeah, a friend of mine had an encounter, and I was telling them about you, and I told them that they should reach out to you. So I gave her a business card and said, hey, have them reach out to me because I would really love to speak to them because it was such a fresh sighting. And it was snowy and there would have been tracks. The person was so terrified that they just didn't even reach out to me. They just said, I saw it and that was it. And I'm like, I really wanted to be able to get out to that location and look around. But they were too afraid to have me come out. Because it's still, you know, kind of a hush-hush thing here. Nobody wants anybody else to know about it.
You know, and it's so sad that there's that stigma that's associated with this, you know, and that's one of the things that we've been trying to eliminate. You know, people are having these sightings. They need a place to go. They need somebody who's going to believe them. And, you know, you dabbing in cryptozoology and the other field, the paranormal, extraterrestrial, hello, you should have a big sign that says, "I'll believe you," right here.
Unfortunately, I'm pretty tough on evidence. Unfortunately,
Yeah, right.
um,
I am with you there. I am with you
it's
there.
hard because I love talking to people about their encounters because I, have my own encounter. But then I have to realize too, we live in New Hampshire. We have bear, we have moose, we have all kinds of animals in the woods. So
Mhm.
I have to be kind of a stickler on, did you see the back end of a moose or did you really see a Bigfoot or
Right.
so?
Or did you see the back end of a bear standing on its back legs?
Yeah.
Which also looks very. I mean, if you're out bear hunting and you're skinning a moose and it looks very humanoid when it's got all of its hair off and everything like that, and even when it's standing up with its hair on, a guy out of northern Minnesota had that just happen, and he posted it on this one site, and I'm like, oh gosh, you know what? That's a bear. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been around bears much, so I go to bear sanctuaries to do my research, and I walked with bears before, wild bears in these sanctuaries and stuff like that. So but at any rate, it's a fun ordeal, and you're absolutely right. When there's what their extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Right. I mean, I've been called Negative Nancy before just for asking questions. Because somebody says I saw a tree moving or a leaf moving, it was a juvenile Bigfoot. Well, how do you know? And then everybody was jumping on me on this forum, like, you're a Negative Nancy. And no, I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to get the answers. Like, are there other things that could contribute to that?
Good for you. Just don't, drink the Kool-Aid. It seems like everybody wants everybody to drink the Kool-Aid and be nice about it and go with what they're saying. You know what I mean? But in all reality, as a field researcher, a disciplined field researcher, you're doing the due diligence and asking the correct questions, the right questions, and trying to get down to what's really going on.
Yep.
And I've had that happen to me for the past 26 years. In this field, you got to have thick skin, and you got to stand. You got to stand your ground. I'm sure you've come to find that out yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I've run into some where people will show me a photograph or a series of photographs and say, "Oh, if you look here, here's Bigfoot, and here's Bigfoot eating a deer, and if you don't see what I see in this photo, then I'm not going to talk to you." And I'll look at the photo and go, "I'm sorry, I'm not seeing what you're seeing, but can you share with me?" And then they're like, "No, I'm not talking to you. You don't see what I see. You can't see them." So, unfortunately, I've dealt with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Right on. And it's just sad. But people are going to be people. When you do get a sighting and stuff like that, how do you go about going out into the field? And when you are out in the field, are you there with the person who alleged the sighting, or are you out there by yourself?
No, I will never go out alone. Unfortunately, as a woman, I'm not going to go out in the woods alone with a witness. So usually what I'll end up doing is, since I'm pretty much the only active one here in New Hampshire, I will reach out to the BFRO guys down in Massachusetts. John Wilkes, Dave McCullough, Jeff Shepard.
Massachusetts guys.
Yep. So I'll reach out to those guys and see if any of them are available to come up and go on to site with me. Recently, I was told that it didn't have to be a BFRO member, that I could pretty much bring anybody I wanted to if I felt comfortable. So that was good news to me. So I can start bringing out, non-BFRO members out to witness locations. So, but it's unfortunately been kind of quiet lately in the state. So mostly just Class B sightings and hearing things like that. So
it's been slow in Minnesota too.
It's been really quiet. Yeah.
Right.
It's all happening in Ohio.
Right. Yeah. You got to get rocks thrown at you.
Yeah. And we had all those reports that came through in March. And yeah, it seems like it's really active right now in Ohio, which is typical. Honestly, it all kind of starts towards the start of fall, the end of summer, beginning of fall, all the way into November is when it seems like in Ohio, from my experience, we get a lot of moving and activity and stuff. I want to apologize again for the comments. It seems like we do have some trolls. So I guess. So they've never ever been in our chat room before. So that's how I know that they're trolls. So I apologize for that. Abe, at any point you can delete them, block them, whatever you need to do, because I don't have the comments listed here.
Okay.
No, I actually went to a hardware store today, and I go there all the time. And the gentleman there, I walked in, he goes, Miss Bigfoot's here. And I started laughing, and I said, yep, that's me. So then he starts going on about, we were just having a conversation about Bigfoots the other day, and how, I just think it's like some drunk guys out in the woods. And I was like, well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But no worries. Have a good day.
Right.
Everybody's
always going to have haters, so it's totally fine.
Yeah, they drink the haterade. They doing this as long as you have been, sweet. Have you looked into the physical anthropology part of this field?
I'm interested in it. Unfortunately, while getting involved with the BFRO and things like that, I was also raising a family.
Yeah, dang families always getting away.
Yeah,
oh, dang.
But now that the kids are getting old, now they're adults, but now as they got older, it gave me more time to be able to go out and do the things that I want to do with investigating, such as going to the 50th anniversary.
Right. Yes, that was amazing.
So that was a fun time, and being able to get out to conferences and things like that. So I'm hoping someday, Abe, I can get to yours. So
yeah,
I would like to get out that way. I haven't had the opportunity to get to a conference in a while, so I do miss it.
We miss you, that's for sure.
Miss the camaraderie and the family, the familyness of them all. So
no doubt. In your years of research, what's one of the oddest things what's one of the weirdest things that you have heard with this whole Bigfoot phenomenon?
Can you repeat that question?
In all your years of doing this, what's one of the most weirdest things that you've heard, encounters that you've heard, scariest encounters that you may have heard in this in doing your Bigfoot research?
I don't know about scary, because I'm fascinated in all of it. But one of my favorite encounters that a witness shared with me was he had a buffalo farm in upstate New Hampshire.
Oh, sweet.
And when the buffalo die, he just lets nature take its course, and he drags them off into the woods. And he had a buffalo die, so he dragged this buffalo out into the woods, and he was standing on his deck having a cigarette, and he could hear the coyotes out there, hooting and hollering and making all kinds of noise around the kill or around the buffalo. And all of a sudden, he said this thing just roared, and he said it was not a roar. It roared where he felt it. His whole chest vibrated, and he said, and then he just heard coyotes scatter. So to me, that was one of my favorite encounters. Just talking to him and knowing, I can't imagine that sensation of feeling it, the power that this thing must have had. So that's one of my favorites. There was another one, actually, we had, which is funny because it's pretty much the next town over. We had a gentleman who at the time owned a quarry, and it's all overgrown now, and it's not being used, and he was having issues with trespassers. So he was out there just walking the lands, and there's these big giant ruts everywhere where the trucks used to go through and stuff. And it was getting dark, and he was walking, and he tripped, and he fell into one of those ruts. And when he fell, he actually landed on something. And when he landed on this thing, it stood up and kind of threw him back.
Whoa!
And he was a big guy too. He was like 6'5". He was a big guy. And he said when he hit the ground, he jumped up. This thing jumped up. He ran one way, it ran the other. And he ran to his truck. And when he got to his truck, he realized he had a handful of hair. And he opens up this envelope, and there's just hair all in it. Long, like gray strands. And some were brown and like a brownish red color. Some were gray. And I said, "Can I have a sample of that?" Right. So I actually wasn't the lead on this investigation. I had Jeff Shepard called me, and he said, "Hey, this report just came in. Do you know, it's up in your neck of the woods, but would you mind if I took it?" And I'm like, "Listen, I have so many cases I'm working right now. Go for it." But then he said, "Oh gosh, you got to go out to this one with me." So he and I went out to this location, and we walked around, and the ruts were pretty deep. And the fascinating thing with this location was there was a butcher that was nearby, and he would dump the skins and carcasses and all the stuff out at the end of the field. And so we were curious as to if it might have been like heading to the pile out there, but I took the sample. I ended up taking a sample that looked like it had dried blood on it. So, and I put it away, and I was contacting all these different places, like looking for somebody who would be able to do DNA testing on it.
Right.
And nobody would get back with me. And I wouldn't even say that I'm a field researcher. I'd be like, "Oh, I have a chicken coop and something got into my coop and I'm just curious what it is. And I found this hair." And, I couldn't get anybody to reach back out to me. But recently, Darby Orcott.
Darby Orcott, yeah.
Like a year and a half ago, I sent him those samples, and I'm still waiting for the results. But because of how old the sample was, they decided. But the only reason they decided to take my sample was because it had the dried blood on it. So I'm hoping that we get some results from that soon. Unfortunately, I did reach out to the property owner. Actually, last year I tried reaching out to him to see, "Hey, would you mind if I went out there and set up some cameras or even just explored the property some more?" And unfortunately, he doesn't own it anymore. He sold it to a corporation.
Oh gosh.
So now I can't get out there to investigate that location anymore, which was frustrating. But I'm hoping that the hair samples will yield some interesting, because he's a big guy, and he's like, "There's no way this was a horse. This thing was like laying down in the rut, and he just happened to trip and fall on it." And
right.
And when I met with him, he was still hobbling because he hurt his leg when he got thrown. He got thrown one way and it went the other. And so
when you guys met up and were at that location, looking at this rut, I can only imagine. I'm wondering if there was any roadkill in there or anything that was dead.
I did, while we were out there, find a dead porcupine.
Oh.
So it was actually, skeletized. So I said, "Hey, to the homeowner, I collect skulls. If I find them in the woods, I'm bringing them home." So I said, "Would you mind if I took that skull?" And he looked at me kind of funny, and he was like, "Have at it." And I was like, "Thanks."
Weirdo. No. What ritual are you going to do?
But I actually got into trapping and tracking as well, just so I could spend more time out in the woods as well. So we were doing that, trapping and things like that. So being out in the woods and stuff it's my happy place.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I haven't done trapping, but I got into foraging, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
You want to come over and come look for mushrooms with me, sometime in the spring.
Yeah.
we're actually probably right now have hen in the woods popping up. So when I'm out in the field, as a matter of fact, in one of my mushroom hunting areas, I found a teepee formation, and I was just like, "What? No way! Really?" It is really really cool. So I documented. I took a video of it walking around, and it's not too far from a river. It's not too far from the St. Croix River, which runs through Minnesota and Wisconsin. And so we know that the St. Croix River itself has a long history of Bigfoot travel. And to see these teepee formations is cool. I was like, yeah, really awesome, right on. And then it was like, I wonder if there's any kind of correlation with mushrooms and Bigfoot too. And that's one of the things that I've been kind of working on as far as research goes. I mean, it's one of the food sources that are out there that grows, and it's pretty prominent too, until we get that frost in the wintertime. But in the spring, it starts coming up. Through the summer, on the fall, it starts coming up. So
well, you got all the berries too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting you make that connection, Abe, because when I was out in Michigan, up at the UP, we were doing some investigating, and we smelled this fishy smell. It was really strong, but it kept moving, the fishy smell. And as we're coming back up the trail that we just went down, there on the trail, there was 2 mushrooms plucked off from somewhere, have no idea where, and turned upside down right off of the side of the trail.
Wow.
They weren't there when we came down there originally. So we were like, that's interesting. Can't say it's Bigfoot, but that was
right. Way weird, and that's just one of the things that's on my research list that I look into as well. Because I mean, we know that they're pretty much omnivorous or have the same diet as you and I and bears, right? Which is really, really kind of cool because, and I just had this thought pop. What do you think that they do in the wintertime? I mean, when it's sub-degree temperature, below zero temperature, what do you think that they do? Any thoughts about that?
I've always wondered if they, migrate to different areas.
Okay.
But we have had encounters here in the winter. So it's hard for me to say that they leave. I honestly can't answer that question. I don't know, because we've had encounters both, year round here. So if somebody says when's the most prevalent time of year for you to have encounters there in New Hampshire, I can't really say because they're year round.
Yeah.
So, and they're all over the state. Like if I have a map that I plot all my little pins on, and when I first started plotting all the pins, my initial thought was, boy, there's going to be a lot more up north, where in the wilderness areas. But then as I'm plotting, I'm seeing more and more pins in more of the southern, eastern, western areas of New Hampshire. And it's like, why is that? And then it hit me, because there's less people up north to see them. It's all woods up there. So there's less encounters up there. So.
And right, it takes 2 things, right? To have a Bigfoot encounter, it takes you and the Bigfoot to see each other.
Right.
Yeah. So that definitely explains a lot
or people to tell us about it, because we get that a lot. They probably have encounters and just go, whoa, that was weird.
Right.
And then we never hear about it, or I hear it through the grapevine. Oh, my friend said they saw it, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't hear about it until years later.
Yeah, so. I get that a lot. I totally know where you're coming from. As far as, what are your thoughts on the Patterson-Gimlin film?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What's your thoughts on the Patterson-Gimlin film?
Oh, the Patterson. You know what? I don't care what they say. I'm going to be in love with that forever. So, they can say that it's fake. I don't believe it. After Meldrum's presentation on the Patterson-Gimlin film, that was one of the most amazing presentations on the Patterson-Gimlin film I think I'd ever seen.
Right.
And to be able to have the scientist talking about this, this video, and then also we've met Bob. So, I feel like he's very truthful. I was hoping that he would come out with a statement about, everything that was going on with that whole documentary that came out. But you know what? I don't think he needs to.
I don't think he does either. Honestly,
so,
he has.
You know what? He had an encounter just like I had an encounter. I defend myself. That's my encounter. And if that's what he had, that was his encounter. That's his encounter. So, and they just happen to have some film to back it up.
Yep.
So I wish I did.
Speaking of the documentary, did you even see the documentary? I did not.
No, honestly, I didn't want to get angry.
Yeah. Right. Go after them with a couple of squash sticks and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, I just never. Honestly, I haven't seen it. Maybe someday I will, but I don't watch a lot of stuff on YouTube either. So,
oh my gosh, there's so much junk out there. You're not missing it.
And unfortunately, lately with the AI crap that's coming around, I'm getting so sick and tired of seeing AI Bigfoots on my page. Like, come on. So,
it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Way unfortunate.
Yeah.
Crystal, what do you think? I mean, we got what are some of the best film footages out there in your opinion?
I really do like obviously the Patterson-Gimlin, and I like the Freeman footage. I like that one, and the older footage, I think, is more what I like. The Memorial Day footage of everything.
Yeah.
So, just trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head. But I mean, there are some good ones.
Yeah, there are. What do you think? I mean, because do you think that the government is keeping this hush hush? For one, I think that they are, and they do. What are your thoughts on that whole conspiracy theory of government knowing that Bigfoot's real?
Same thoughts. I believe that they know about them, and they're just not saying anything about it. Just like the whole UFO thing, they know they're there.
Right.
They're just not going to say anything about it. I wish, I don't know, because I've heard, some people make good points that if this was proven to exist, that would that be a way for them to stop people from going into the woods? Like, this is an endangered species, and if this is out there, can they log, or can they do this? Can they do that? Can they build? So, I don't know. It's a good question.
Great question.
Sometimes it's hard to answer.
It is, and if you think about it, I think the destruction that we have already done to the woods, they're still thriving. They're still having sightings. But I think, if the government finally came out saying, yeah, they're real, of course, the timber industry, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yep.
The logging and all of that stuff. Yes, there's going to be protected land. As far as keeping people out of the woods, I mean, hiking and camping and people who go to the state forest and state parks, that's a good source of revenue for that state to put back into there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would really stop that, because state needs money.
That's true.
Yeah. So they're getting money. I think it's just going to put a big.
But then are they gonna like license you to go hiking? Are you gonna have to get a license to go hiking?
Well, I'm not sure. That's a great question. But I think laws would probably be saying that you cannot kill this species. You can't. It's a no-kill law. It's protected. It's endangered. And with that being said, where do you think that lies? I mean, do you think it's North America's great ape, or do you think it's somewhere along the Homo genus, which I guess some great ape, hominid, Homo. Where do you think it lies? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? It's hard to say, because honestly, I have friends who were strictly flesh and blood. This is strictly flesh and blood, who have slowly migrated to more of the paranormal side of it. Um, I can't say exactly what it is. My thought is it was always something flesh and blood, only from what I saw as a kid, because what I saw was flesh and blood. It didn't just disappear. It didn't turn into a puff of smoke. But I have heard encounters where people have seen it just disappear, or you know, just walk away and then all of a sudden it's gone. So I mean, I don't want to be the person to say your Bigfoot disappeared. That's you're full of BS. I'm not going to say that because that's their encounter and that's what they saw. So I'm trying to stay open minded as to what it could be, because honestly, we just don't know.
Right.
I know it might be a cop out of an answer, but I can't explain it any other way.
No, I think it's a great answer because, you can speculate, which is what you're doing with believing that it's flesh and blood, but you can't say for certain what it is. And I think that's the best way to look about it. Is it sounds like you kind of have an open mind to put possibilities while at the same time recognizing your experience. And I have noticed with many different researchers, they start out heavily flesh and blood, flesh and blood, flesh and blood. And then the more research they do, they start having these odd experiences, excuse me, attached to where they're going to search for Bigfoot. And their mind starts to slowly open up that maybe there's more to this that we don't know quite yet. And me personally, I'm right there with you. I believe that they are flesh and blood, but I think that there's a lot of things that are involved with Sasquatch that we don't quite understand. And we won't till we get a body to look at. Obviously, nobody should be out there killing one, but if somebody finds one, that would be great for science to do a study on.
And honestly, with the the hoaxing that's been going on, it's super frustrating for researchers because it just puts such a damper on what we do, and it gets frustrating.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then some of them going on TV shows and news channels, and I got a body.
Oh, the bodies now. Oh my gosh! I just seen one this morning. A new body. So it's like, oh, facepalm. Hello. Oh my gosh! Yeah, and you're right. It does so much damage to this field of research.
Because then everybody just makes a mockery of what we're trying to do, and it does get frustrating.
It really does. It really does. It's such a shame. A lot of us has put in decades of doing this.
Yep.
Not and just to have something like that still come, just make a mockery of it. Just, I just want to bring those people out in the woods, like, here, sit here. I'm going to tie you to a tree.
Give them a real experience.
I'm going to tie you to a tree. Here's some sardines. Here's some bacon grease. Here's some peanut butter. And, I got bait with a tree camera, 4K. I'm watching you. You might scream here. Actually, here, let's gag you. And
the raccoons, possums, Sasquatch, and whatever else is out there fighting over eating off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, Crystal, where would you like to see this field of research go? What direction would you like to? Do you think discovery's around the corner? If not, where do you think you'd like to see this?
I really would like some answers. As much, I don't want to have a body, because they're so elusive as it is, and possibly even rarer than they were in the past. And I think just for me, one more sighting would be all I need. Just for myself, to be able to see it again and say, okay, yep, you are here. I don't know if I truly need answers other than for myself, and maybe to help a few other people out there that have had, the many other people out there who have had encounters get the answers they seek.
For the people who are just starting to get into this, What would you tell them? Any pointers or anything like that? What would you?
Don't believe everything you see online.
That's great. Yes.
Unfortunately, I was doing a talk at a high school. They had a cryptid club, so I was like, oh, so excited I get to go speak to this cryptid club, and then they just kept bringing up hoaxers and taking it as real, and I would have to say no, and then breaking their little hearts, and I felt horrible, like, I don't want to be that negative Nancy, but
got to keep it real.
Yeah, don't. And Abe knows how I feel about stick structures. It's one of those things that's hard for me because sticks, I've been living in this house for well over 20 plus years. And there are sticks leaning on a tree that have been there since the day I moved in. And they'll probably be there till the day I die and I'm long gone. Those sticks are still going to be sitting on that tree. So it's hard for me with the stick structures to know what it was for, who put it there, why it's there.
Yep.
I know. I know, that's just my take on it. I'm not saying that it's not Bigfoot. I'm not saying it is Bigfoot. We just don't know why it's there.
Exactly. And that's one thing I try to tell people. I tell them that we're finding these in the areas where there's been sightings and communications and stuff like that. But we can't really say that they are doing it.
Right. Until somebody films. Right. So.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
now somebody's probably going to make like a little AI video of somebody, Bigfoot creating stick structures.
Oh,
that's going to be out there.
Don't say that.
Thankfully, you can somewhat tell. I mean, they're getting better, but you can typically tell.
Oh, yeah.
When you get the blurry videos, the shaky, and there's still detail that you're like, oh, that's pretty compelling.
Yeah. So that's why I like the older stuff, because that was before AI and the technology for that. So somebody said, okay, I'll do that.
Excellent. Right on. Crystal, I just want to say thank you for coming on. We're going to wrap it up here, but thank you. It was so great just to catch up with you. I miss you so much, and we got to get everybody back together sometime. You know what I mean?
We should, and take a ride driving down those roads with Abe with his camera in one hand, phone in the other, knees driving over the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's
legendary. That's this. You know what the material this is? Legendary. No.
As long as you don't kill us, we're good.
Exactly. I mean, you live to talk about it, right? So it's been 9 years now.
We have stories. We have stories to tell.
It's never an adventure unless you're a little bit scared,
right?
So much fun. But honestly, thanks again. I appreciate all that you put into the Bigfoot community. I appreciate your friendship and your opinions. I love you like a sister. And don't be a stranger. Reach out sometime.
I know. I've been so busy with everything here that I've kind of gone AWOL for a while. So it's nice to be back.
It was good to see you.
And I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to say thank you as well, Crystal. And I'm super sorry about all of the weirdness on my end.
Oh, no worries. I hope your dogs feel better.
Well, he's actually doing a little worse since I got back. So I'm just,
oh no.
I hope everybody just says a little prayer or put some good vibes out for him. I want to get him to the vet in the morning.
Good luck with that.
Hoping to avoid an emergency vet bill. So yeah. So, but thank you so much again for coming on. It was a pleasure. Let's link up. I'd love to chat with you more, especially about your paranormal stuff. Maybe we can have you back on a future show to talk about your paranormal work.
Sounds good. I love doing that as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. And thank you, Abe, for kind of taking up the slack where I couldn't.
No worries. I got your back. And thank you all for tuning in and watching this and in the chat room. And until next time, everybody have a great night. And thank you guys and squash on.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Night.
Bye.